Okay, everyone, sorry about the late video. I just had a lot going on today and I just could not get a video out any earlier. So this is really the first opportunity. We're going to go into the stock markets, look at some individual trade ideas, and just really cover what's kind of new today. We do have earnings coming up. Earnings season is coming up. So likely any kind of movement or changes in the posture of the market will come out of that earnings. I don't see much of a catalyst besides that. Of course, the Fed is always a catalyst, so we always need to keep an eye on what they're doing and how they're posturing. The market will move according to that. So we're going to start out here with the triple Qs. Again, just this bearish rising wedge continues to kind of grind and wedge out. So you'll see here, I've got it marked in blue right here on the hourly chart. You can see we're just continuing to kind of grind higher in a bearish rising wedge. And the definition of a bearish rising wedge is it's a bearish technical formation that continues to move higher, but signals that, you're going to have a move to the downside. So again, I'm just continuing to wait for the break of this hourly trend line right here. It's coming off of the May 18th. You can see we held support, again, held support. And today we just really we're grinding around, but still within that bearish rising wedge pattern. So no technical change. And we just continue to move higher. So until we get a sell signal, which is a break of that trend line, I'm not really interested in going long on this. I just really would rather let this thing continue to move higher until we get that break. The reason being, you look at the daily chart, we're just continuing the negative divergence that's been building for quite some time now, and no change there. So you'll see here on the RSI, we just have continued negative divergence. We just made a lower high recently and a higher high in price. So the momentum is, over time, we're losing some momentum while price just continues to move higher. So that tells us that we're likely going to get that trend reversal, and we're just waiting for it. Okay, so that's all I see on the Qs. SPY, SPY, I have this trend line really coming off of the March 2020 lows. We held support here and here on the daily chart. There's your support, and then we held it here and right there, and then recently right there. And we got we were grinding higher. We got the sell signal, and then since then, if I zoom in, you can see we've just been back testing. So really for the last week and a half or so, we did a back test, sold off, came back, they popped it back up. So we're just thrashing around basically while we're back testing this trend line. Not an area I'm really interested in being long. And if you look at it percentage-wise, here's your sell signal on the S&P 500. If you let's say you went short on the sell signal, then you've gone underwater on the SPY about 3.5%. Okay, so percentage terms, it's really not that large of a move. I'm not short the SPY right now. I'm really watching the Qs as my indication on when to start indice shorts. But if you took the short on the SPY right here on this breakdown, then you're underwater by 3.5%, and it just seems like a lot more because it's taken it's basically taken since the sell signal came here June 16th, and we're going on a month of moving higher. So over that month, you've gone under by 3.5%. Now I'm waiting for the Qs to give us that sell signal, that next sell signal. And when I see that, then I would expect a broad-based sell-off. And that's when I think we'll get the SPY selling off as well. So let's look at some sectors. Again, we've had a sell signal. Here's the financials. We got the sell signal on the financials right back here, back on the, about June 8th. And we're just, kind of thrashing around, chopping around, basically. Still profitable, that, again, the short trade is still a profitable trade. We sold off, ran down to support, bounced up to resistance. Support was right here at about 35, and then resistance is right in here at 37.11. And you can see we hit support, we bounced off, came back down, hit support again, bounced off. We're just thrashing around. No technical change. I still think we're heading lower over time, but we got to continue to consolidate and then break. We need to see those breakdowns. XLI, same thing. The sell signal on XLI on the larger time frame, this is coming off your March 2020 lows. There's your uptrend line. We got the sell signal right there on June 7th. And again, still profitable from the short trade. Same thing. We're just kind of grinding higher on pretty low volume. Again, a lot of this price action recently, this grinding action higher, is on low volume with negative divergences. So we'll just continue to probably grind higher on low volume and continue to extend those divergences until we see a break of that. And it's likely going to be a break to the downside. So I would expect when that break comes, a lot of this price action, this is going to be wiped out pretty quickly. So this upward price action. So that's it, grind higher until we see a breakdown. But we do have negative divergences telling us that that's going to come. You can see here, we're just continuing that, on this industrials. We're just consolidating, but still looks like we've broken that upward trend. Here's the upward trend. And likely we're going to get a big breakdown. It's going to come quickly, and that's how it works. XLY, which is consumer discretionary. One thing to look for on this, if you go back and look at really coming off the 2009 lows on this weekly chart. This is larger time frame stuff, but I want to point something out. You've got this trend line coming off it's about March 2009. And as you zoom in, you can see we basically held support right through here. And then when we broke in 2018, we've been just backtesting that trend line from below ever since. So you can see, tag that trend line, you got a correction. Tag it, you get a correction. There's the COVID drop. And then recently you can see we tag it, correction, tag it, correction. We've been coiling tighter and tighter, but ultimately we're still below that trend line. We're really close to it, so we could go up and maybe tag it again. But each and every time we've tagged that trend line over the last couple years, we've gotten a pullback. And each pullback, from here, that's a 10% drop there. Right here we had another solid one. That was a 15% drop. So 10 to 15% is pretty common. There's an 8.5% drop. So again, risk reward, I'm just trying to point out that the risk reward is really more to the downside. We could run up and hit the trend line. That's maybe 1.5% up, and then maybe you get a 10 to 15% drop. So not something I want to be long. I'm really more interested in just looking for the good short entry, letting the market kind of do what it wants to do. We're in the summer doldrums. We got low volume. And low volume typically, boring markets favor, kind of bullish grinding higher action. But, when you get that reversal, I really do feel like we're going to wipe out a lot of those gains in maybe maybe a week or so. We'll probably wipe out a lot of the gains that have taken place over the last few months. So risk reward still doesn't look good to me. I'm not interested in being long, at least the indices. Someone asked me to look at UPS, so here's this chart. United Postal Service or whatever, Parcel Service. You've got negative divergence, obvious negative divergence right there. Again, a lot of charts have negative divergence because they've been kind of extended to the upside for a while, and there's just the market's losing momentum over time. So this is very common for a lot of charts, but doesn't mean we have a short or a reason to sell, basically. But it does tell me that we're going to have a correction or a sell signal here pretty soon. UPS, there's your negative divergence. So we have a divergent high. Really up here is a divergent high. We see we made lower momentum on this new high-end price. And I've got this uptrend line here. We're looking at, this is a weekly chart. If we go to the daily, it'll show a little cleaner, but there's your daily chart right there. Your uptrend line with negative divergence. So again, we just wait for a break of this trend line on the daily. We break, and I think the trade is probably going to be a move all the way down here to 124.84. There's a big gap right there, and I believe that's where this would trade down on a break. That was major resistance. You can see all the tags of that. Looks like it chopped around. Lots of tags of that resistance. When we finally broke, we gapped up. So a break of that trend is likely going to bring us all the way down to backfill that gap. So that would be the trade. Again, we need to see that impulsive break of this uptrend line here on the daily chart. And we just don't have that yet. So just got to keep an eye out for it. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick scan of some of the stocks I'm really watching or trades that I'm actually involved in. American Eagle, uptrend line right here on the daily, negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO, waiting for a break of the trend line. That's it. When you get the break, that's the sell signal. I'll point that out when or if we get that. No change today. Ally, popping the near-term support right here at 5107, just kind of popped it a little. So again, maybe we're gonna do something like this and run up here and then fail. Still looks to me like you have an uptrend line. You broke trend and you're just, working our way lower. Although in the short term, we could go a little higher. I still think over time, we're going to downtrend. I don't see any change in posture. I don't see any divergences. There's no bullish divergences showing up telling me that we're going to have much more than just a basic pop. So again, I'm still short this one. ANF, you can see we broke trend. Here's your uptrend line on ANF. Broke trend. This one chopped around, so I didn't get involved in this one because it chopped around. But here's your back test with another divergent high, and so far failing. Popping it today a little bit, but I don't see any technical change in posture, and I think we work our way lower over time. Here's Boyd Gaming. Again, sold off last week, and then today basically popping it right back up to resistance, 58.16. We'll see. Just consolidating sideways so far. So these things can chop sideways for a while before they continue to break down, and that's what it looks like the market wants to do. Here's one, Avis Budget Group, which is CAR, C-A-R. Clean uptrend line right here. Negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO, and we broke trend. So there's your sell signal. A little bit of a, dead cat bounce basically off of that first move down. I think we continue lower. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't continue lower. There's no technical change to the structure here, so still looks bearish in the short term. Deer, thrashing around a little bit. Still looks like a downtrend. I mean, look, you've got down, you bounce up. All right, I think we continue lower over time on this one. Here's your uptrend, nice clean uptrend. We broke trend, and it looks like we're going to be downtrending in the near future. They just came out today right in the morning and bought it up. We'll see how the rest of the week. They might sell it off the rest of the week. We don't know. DraftKings still looks bearish. It's holding this support line, but at DraftKings, on the daily chart, you've got this uptrend line right here. We broke trend, back tested once, failed, and then tried to make another back test. It's failed since, but it's still holding this daily trend line right here. And you can see they closed right on it today, so that is support. Until that really goes with it in a definitive manner, we could continue to kind of wedge higher. It still looks like it's going lower over, over a swing trade. EMR, this one, uptrend line on the daily chart right there. Negative divergence telling you you're going to reverse trend. You got a big impulsive sell signal, and now this is likely the top of this bounce, but maybe we're going to run up and do a full back test of that broken trend line. That is possible. That would be from where we're at another, 1.5%, 2% higher potentially. And then I think that's likely all that will be in this rally. But again, there's your sell signal. You bounce, and I think we're going to get, a break like this and continue to work our way lower. Over time, it's not going to look exactly like that, but I do think we continue to work lower. We're also flagging right here. To me, it looks like a bear flag, but we're flagging out and just kind of at the upper end of the flag right there. GM, again, you can see uptrend. Here's an upper channel basically, and we had negative divergence and we got a sell signal. We broke the channel, and you can see you sold off and then they popped it up, and they're just kind of grinding it around here, chopping out some of the shorts that took that sell signal. No technical change in the posture though, so whether we run up and do a full back test of the trend line, that's completely possible. I still think we're going to hold below the trend line and then eventually break down and go lower. And same with JCI. This one, uptrend right here, negative divergence at the high. This was a bearish rising wedge. We broke, so there's your sell signal. And then ever since that sell signal, it's just been grinding below the trend line. Not able to recover it, but not definitively selling off either. So we'll watch this one. It's still, still trending higher, but it's a divergent high. This new high that we made, and really the last few days, have been a higher high in price on much lower momentum. See how we're downtrending in the momentum. So I think when the market breaks, when Q's probably breaks that bearish rising wedge, we're going to see a lot of these all break at once. And until then, we're just grinding higher. LPX, this one, here's your uptrend line on LPX. You had a sell signal right there, and we've just been, consolidating sideways. All right. No, we're not, no change. So this one, obviously, you always have the potential to run up and back test, or we could break. MGM, Uptrend line here on MGM on the daily. See all the tags of support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. And 6. We finally got a sell signal. Nice big impulsive breakdown. And again, just looks like a dead cat bounce. You know, you don't go straight down. You break, you bounce. We're probably going to work our way back here, consolidate a little bit, and then ultimately break with an impulsive candle down. So I see no technical change, even though, you know, it was basically flat today. So no real change there. Starbucks, I'm thinking this will go a little bit higher. It really looks to me like it wants to run up and do a back test of this trend line. This is the area I'm interested in shorting this thing up around this 121.50, 122 area. So any more, you know, we start getting in that area, I'll probably take a starter short, because that new high that we make will be a back test of the broken trend line. So there's your trend line on the daily chart. It'll be a back test into major resistance with clean and clear negative divergence. So it'll look like something like this. This will run up and hit this and likely will get rejected right up there. So that's an objective area to short up there, in my opinion. Everything on this channel is just my opinion. But that's what I'm watching for on that one. And Schwab, here's your uptrend line on the daily. We broke trend, and we've been thrashing around. You can see down, lower, you know. We're just kind of downtrending. It's just thrashing around a little bit. And that's how downtrends typically start. They don't start out super impulsive. Usually they kind of grind around and just ultimately work their way lower, but it's a sneaky downtrend. People they don't realize that it's working its way lower. Then as soon as they start to see it, oh, we're actually going lower, then the selling gets more impulsive and we start to make bigger moves down. But at first, you know, it usually starts out a lot slower, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing kind of the, you know, the downward movement, and then we kind of bounce up. But as far as I can tell, here's a high, lower high, you know, so far a lower high. We'll see where that goes. Here's a low, a lower low, you know. So again, I think we're going to, you know, start to roll over and make a new lower low eventually. And SeaWorld, this one's actually pretty objective, in my opinion, as a short, right about where it's at. But you can see the uptrend line here on the daily. And we broke trend and we backtested on Friday, and today they're, you know, it's not quite there, but that might be all she wrote. It looks like we're likely going to go lower from here. Clean negative divergence on this one. So very, very, I think that's high probability that was the backtest. We might backtest again, but I think we're going to break and go lower. So watch that one. There might be a good trade there to the downside. Again, a lot of shorts. I mean, this is my short list, so I'm just going through a lot of these shorts. The market's at all-time highs. It's grinding higher on low volume. So I don't want to be going long trades when we're grinding higher, you know, really overextended, and we're just grinding higher on low volume with negative divergence. Instead, I would rather look for short opportunities. So that's what I'm doing, trying to point them out for everyone. Toll Brothers, still profitable as a short. Here's your March 2020 low uptrend. You can see we made a divergent high up here. Got a sell signal, backtest 1, backtest 2, and we're just downtrending. So, you know, basically flat today, but you can see we're making, there's a high, there's a lower high, there's a lower high, and then we got lows, lower lows. Just downtrending. I know I got a lot of circles there, but ultimately I think the next level of support, which we're probably heading in that direction in the near future, is going to be down here at about, it's sitting about 50 or so. So look for that in the near future. Tesla bouncing today, just continues to kind of grind higher. Yeah, we're just moving higher. Here's your daily uptrend line here. We broke trend, and then we're just consolidating on the secondary trend line now. So I'm watching this one for a break on the hourly chart of this trend line right here. Okay, so a break of that, and down we go. And I think it'll come shortly, but again, we need to see the Qs break. Tesla's going to hang in there until the momentum in tech stocks start to break. I'll wrap up with gold, and gold stocks still hanging in there. You know, you can see here on the hourly, we keep kind of thrashing around basically right above this 1790 level. So even today, they sold it down. We hit 1790, buyers stepped in and bid it back up. And we've seen that a couple times. See, we sold off here, buyers bid it back up, sold down, buyers were down there. Today, sold it down, buyers are there. So looks like there's buyers here. Doesn't, you know, we're not impulsively moving higher yet, but we're holding support. So in general, that's bullish, and I see us continuing to hold that support and move higher. There's no technical change in the posture of gold as of right now. If that changes, I'll let everyone know. Until then, I'm still looking for bullish price action in some of the miners, but they continue to kind of consolidate down here at support, and they could do so for another week or so. There's no real time limit in terms of consolidation. It's just really about where the price goes. So as long as we're holding support in a lot of these, things are looking good. Some of these miners, here's GDX. It looks like it could go a little lower because GDX, you have this downtrend line right here. We broke out, we back tested once, broke out, and it looks like it's coming back in for another back test. So whether maybe this wants to sell down and hit here and then go, that's completely possible. Or perhaps it holds in this area. We already had one back test right here. So I just watch for that. I think there's potential we could sell down a little more in GDX, which likely would mean some of the miners are going to continue to sell off, and then we'd have some support down here. Even if we got all the way down here, there's some major support right down there at about 31.35, which would be horizontal support. You can see held resistance here, and then it was support back here, and it was support right here. So if we want to come down for a back test, hit dual support, which would be this downward trend line support and horizontal support. That is completely possible, and especially if we had bullish divergence in play at that time, that would be a very objective area to go long. The GDX. Some individual miners are looking good to me right now, and then some look like they maybe could sell off a little bit more. So little consolidation still going on. We just don't have that catalyst yet to propel these things forward, but they are holding some support, some critical support areas. That's all I got for today. I'm going to let this one, put this out there. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me a thumbs up. Check out the trading course if you guys haven't done so. Link in the description below. Leave a comment on any stocks or charts you want me to look at in future videos for this week, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.